Steel and Wire asked Peoria County government to pause approval on a loan for a new piece of equipment. The manufacturing process for that equipment has been delayed, and the two groups will likely circle back to the issue in January or February of next year. The approval of the loan was taken off the agenda for a recent county board meeting.
Liberty Steel and Wire has been incredibly transparent with the county from our very first conversation almost a year ago up until just last week in terms of where they are in their process.
The timeline on when the Liberty Steel headquarters could move from Texas to Peoria County is currently unknown. It will likely be dependent on state incentives that the company is seeking.